you in the door. 40 yachts could never be ignored. The music was fast and it was wrong. It never mattered to me what home. Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. It was in a circle all night long. The people slamming to their favorite song. Live on the stage.
Hey folks, welcome to Planet Traffic. Today's episode's coming from the actual headquarters, Mikey Heal's headquarters. Yeah, Planet Traffic, that kind of stuff. I got a lot of stuff laying around in here. I'm an old guy. I got a lot of stuff. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of enough stuff. A lot of stuff. Yes. Okay, good enough. A lot of stuff. But anyway, today's episode's about a magic box that I wanted to talk about, and why it means so much to me. So let's go. I can even put some music. My bands have wrote this music, so YouTube, you can't get me for copyright because I haven't. I think. Bye-bye. Got this box from my sister-in-law, and I was like, "Ooh, what to do with it? Let me go wide on it first." So I got this box, and it's got like four. It's a little storage cube with 4 little spots on it. I want, you know what? I got an idea. Let's do some string lights. And let's not forget about the gold boom box from the early 80s. I actually did an episode on my channel about this. Maybe I'll leave it in the link. A link in the description. Anyway, so we got this box. So string lights. Now what? You know what? Let me put some of my really most special things, like Mina. It's ready to call her Tawny. It's not Tawny. That's Tawny. This is Mina. That's enough bugs. Yeah, that's what she's eating. Stop. So this area here just has some of my most special stuff. As a punk rock music performer, and let's go through and just maybe some influences and some of my favorite records, and that's where we're going with. A few of my upcoming videos are going to be. I'm going to start putting my old vinyl records, some of my most favorite. But anyway, a lot of them are right here. So I love this LL record right here. You may be familiar. Radios on this. Tons of great tracks on that record, along with this RKL record in the back. And I got these. Hold on. I got these early to mid 80s. This is my boys band right here, Everyday Dollars. That was back in the day as well. This shirt, that RKL shirt, along with this deck, this skate deck, and I probably should have just left the deck there, but I put the trucks on there because I was going to ride it. I got from a gentleman in Southern California that was actually very, had a lot of experiences with the fellas in RKL back when that record was put out. Matter of fact, he gave me actual spin on what Dead Ted's actually was, and that's a song on Keep Laughing. So we got Biggie. We got Tommy Scar's band, Scars Like These. You got some Anti-Suburbians. Slide down here. One of my favorite zines going. That was going back in Philly. And a lot of this stuff is Philly-based. Violent Society. There goes the original TCO. Pagan Babies played with them a number of times back in our heyday, back in the day. Probably 87, 88. Walk Together, Rock Together from 7 Seconds. I just picked this up because Ozzy, that was one of my first real, next to Kiss was probably one of my favorite, heavy metal records. I love Blizzard of Ozz. That's one of my all-time favorites. Look at this classic Homo Picnic back here, still in the sandwich bag. Yep. Underneath all of this stuff, it hasn't really been sorted well. You can see this. Watch this. There goes the letters I wrote to my parents when I was on tour. That was back in 1988. Some of the... That might need to be an episode, reading a couple of them. I don't know. I'll have to check the content. And below that are notes that I took. In these manila envelopes are notes that I took of the first, I don't know, I'm going to say 50 shows or so the Pagan Babies played. There's some pretty cool stuff in there as well. There's a banger right there. Raw Power. Look at that bill. Look at that bill right there. There you go. Who remembers that? Look at that. Let's slide over here. This is all like my stuff. There's a Kremlin Core 7-inch. That was definitely before the Pagan Babies did anything. Legitimate Reason, Ruin. It's one of my favorite Agent Orange records right there. This was one of my favorite shows of all time. Dead Kennedys at Rutgers in Camden. Look at that bill. That was a great gig. There goes the Heels vinyl record right there. That's currently out, and you can get one of them. When we actually bring them to the shows and stuff like that, I think you can also get them off our Bandcamp, including these, you know, the digital versions of these CDs that we also put out as well. And pop up here, this shirt, I'll never forget this, one of the great stories. The back of this shirt has the band sketch. That art is from none other than Bruce Boyd. Just an amazing friggin' artist. Amazing. And he was a drummer of Pagan Babies. So yeah, so the back of that shirt says "Smoke Me," which went over real well when my mother saw it back in 1987. We all got in a van. I feel like we were going to DC to play a show, and my one buddy's like, "Look at these new shirts," and my mom's like, "What's that say on the back?" That was interesting. That was fun. Here's an ad that was in some metal magazines. Token Entry. It was probably also in like Maximum Rock and Roll. That was when Pagan Babies put that record out. And Token Entry had theirs out too on the same label, Hawker Records. Got this tape off of eBay. Got the 7-inch record still. There goes the DVD, CD thingy that we did. You gotta have one of these, right? Right from day one. Yep, you gotta have one of them Minor Threat records out of step. Yeah, you know, that's the thing. Like, it's just like, I want to really commemorate. And anytime while I'm watching anything on this TV, I'll peek over and always remind me of just my roots. I mean, they're still full, you know, sprouted into the oversized individual I am right now. But I'll tell you what, this stuff will always have the utmost importance and is out in the wide open in my home. And I just wanted to share that with everybody. What do we got up top here? Yeah, Pat gave me that. Battalion Zoshka. There's a bunch of old flyers under here. Not necessarily show. I definitely was not at this Minor Threat show. I was not at that show. Love Hall. I got some of this stuff too. I think there's a, I forget who was on. What was on? I forget that. Well, there's a City Gardens right there. But yeah, that's it. Just wanted to show you what I did with it, with some of my old good stuff. Look at this. Yes. A lot of Philly-based stuff. Bands that I played with, played on bills with, had great times with, still have great times with. Yeah, it's all right here. Right here in this box. There it is. That box right there. I'll start having a couple videos from time to time about some of the old vinyl records I have. I may even go over them ones that you just seen. Music's such a big influence on my life. Major influence. Yeah, so it's like, I feel like that would be a good idea, and this was a good way to introduce it by, there's some of my favorite records right there. The Ruin record. I'm not to be a dick, but I got my own record up there, which is, I mean, you love your own music, right? I do. Ruin, Blizzard of Oz, and that RKL LP. Keep laughing. Yeah. All right, folks. Come back and see me again. We can do, and by the way, I have a pretty solid playlist. Oh, it's called my punk rock playlist, Mikey Heels punk rock playlist. Check it out. There's so much stuff on there. I go into City Gardens, do some reflection inside. Oh my God, the dilapidated remains right now, City Gardens. I don't know what it looks like now. I'm down in Georgia. I haven't been up in that area since probably I did that video. That's in there. A little ride through Frankfurt section of Philly, because that had a lot of significance in my life too, because we actually got to play some gigs fairly close to our home, which was kind of rare in Philly. And yeah, so go check that out. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a great day, pleasant tomorrow, and I'll see you next episode.